Did the council sense that the Sith had returned? Never absent they were, Obi-Wan, but stronger suddenly, closer to the surface. Spoke much of the prophecy. Dooku did. The prophecy of the Chosen One? The larger prophecy. That unfold the dark times would. Born into their midst the Chosen One is to return balance to the Force. Anakin, Obi-Wan said. Yoda regarded him for a long moment. Difficult to say, he said quickly. Maybe, yes. Maybe, no. More important, the shroud of the dark side is. Many discussions Dooku had with me, with other members of the council, most of all with Master Sifo-Dyas. Obi-Wan waited. Close friends they were, bound together by the unifying force, but worried about Master Dooku, Sifo-Dyas was. Worried about his disenchantment with the Republic, about self-absorption among the Jedi. Saw in Dooku the effect of Qui-Gon's death. Sifo-Dyas did. The effect that resurfaced the Sith had. Yoda shook his head mournfully. Knew of Dooku's imminent departure, Master Sifo-Dyas did. Sensed, he may have, the birth of the separatist movement. And yet the council dismissed Dooku as an idealist, Obi-Wan said. Yoda gazed at the floor, saw with my own eyes what he had become, and refused to believe it. I did. But how could Dooku have searched out Sidious, or was it the other way around? Impossible to know, but accept Sidious as a mentor Dooku did. Could Sifo-Dyas have foreseen that as well? Also impossible to know, believed he might have, that Sidious Dooku would hunt down, to destroy. Could that have motivated Dooku to leave the Order? Perhaps. But by the power of the dark side, even the most steadfast heart can be seduced. Obi-Wan turned to face Yoda. Master, did Sifo-Dyas order the clone army? Yoda nodded. Contacted the Kaminoans, he did. Without your knowledge? Without it, yes. But exists a record of his initia contact. Obi-Wan gave into some of his frustration. I should have questioned Lama Su more extensively. Questioned, the Kaminoans were. Furnished much they did. Did they? Obi-Wan said in surprise. When? Reticent they were when first to Kamino I went. Only what already they had told you I heard, that Sifo-Dyas the order placed, that Tyrannus the donor clone furnished, that for the Republic the clones were. Seen by the Kaminoans, neither Sifo-Dyas nor Tyrannus was, but later, after attacked Kamino was, more I learned from Townway and Kosai about the payments. From Sifo-Dyas, from Tyrannus. Could Tyrannus have been an alias for Sifo-Dyas? Could he have adopted the name to provide deniability for the Jedi in case the clone army was discovered? Wished for that I did, but killed Sifo-Dyas was, before on Kamino Jango Fett arrived. Murdered? Yoda compressed his thin lips. Unsolved the crime remains, but yes, murdered. Someone knew, Obi-Wan said, more to himself. Dooku? He asked Yoda. A theory I have, nothing more. Murder, Dooku committed. Then, from the Jedi archives erased Kamino, he did. Of that tampering proof Master Jocasta Nu found, proof of Dooku's action, though well concealed it was. Obi-Wan recalled his visit to the archives to search out the location of Kamino, only to be told by Jocasta Nu that the planetary system didn't exist. What had caused him that day, 3 years earlier, to stare so intently at the library's bronzium bust of Count Dooku? Nevertheless, the clone army continued to be financed and built, he said at last. Could Sifo-Dyas and Tyrannus have been partners? Of our ignorance, another example this is. But playing both sides, Jango Fett clearly was. By someone on the side of the Republic, chosen he was on Bog 4 to be the clone template. But serving Dooku he was, as a hired killer. With the changeling who targeted Amidala, an intermediary he was. Obi-Wan pictured Fett in the execution arena on Geonosis, standing behind Dooku in a box reserved for dignitaries. He had knowledge of both armies. Could he have killed Sifo-Dyas? Perhaps. Were you able to trace the source of the payments? Beyond Tyrannus, I mean. From Bog 4 into a maze of deception they led. Did the Kaminoans say whether anyone had tried to persuade them not to build the army? Intercede, None did. Reveal themselves too soon, our enemies would have. So Dooku had no choice but to create an army before the clones were trained and ready. Appears that way, it does. Obi-Wan fell silent for a moment. When I was being held captive on Geonosis, Dooku told me that the Trade Federation had been allied with Sidious during the blockade of Naboo, but that they had later been betrayed by him. Dooku said that Gunray had gone to him for help and that Dooku had tried to appeal to the Council. He claimed that, even after several warnings, the Council refused to believe him. Is any of that true, Master? More lies, Yoda said. Building a case to enlist you in his cause, Dooku was.
You must join me, Obi-Wan. And together, we will destroy the Sith.
If Gunray hadn't been so keen on assassinating Padme Amidala, Obi-Wan mused. If I'd failed to trace the saber dart that killed the changeling. Ignorant about the clone army, we might have remained. But surely the Kaminoans would have contacted us, Master. Eventually, but grown greater in numbers, the Separatist army would have, invincible perhaps. Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed. Mine wasn't a case of blind luck. Yoda shook his head. Meant to learn of the clone army we were. Destined to fight this war we were. In the nick of time. The Council couldn't conceive of Dooku as anything but an idealist. Perhaps he never believed that the Jedi could become generals. Nonsense, Yoda said. Warriors always have we been. But are we helping to return balance to the Force, or are our actions contributing to the growth of the dark side? Yoda grimaced. Impatient with such talk I grow. Cryptic this conflict is, the way it began, the way it unfolds. But for the ideals of the Republic we fight. To prevail and restore peace, our priorities must remain. Then to the dark heart of this matter will we burrow. Expose the truth, we will. Yoda was correct, Obi-Wan told himself. If the Jedi hadn't learned of the clone army, Dooku's separatists would have suddenly appeared on the scene with tens of millions of battle droids, fleets of warships, and seceded from the Republic without contest. But there would have been no coexisting with the Confederacy. Ultimately it would have bled the Republic dry. War would have been inevitable, and the Jedi would have been caught in the middle, as they were now. But why hadn't Yoda told him sooner about Sifo-Dyas, or was this yet another lesson, as the search for Kamino had been? Yoda's way of telling him to search for the thing that didn't seem to be there, by analyzing its effects on the world around it. The difference between knowledge and wisdom, Obi-Wan's friend Dex might have said, as he did on identifying the source of the saber dart that had killed Zam Wesell when the temple analysis droids couldn't. Yoda was regarding him when he lifted his head. Reveal you, your thoughts do, Obi-Wan. Believe I should have told you sooner, you do. Yours is the wisdom of centuries, Master. Years matter not. Busy fighting a war, you have been. Mentoring your headstrong Padawan. In pursuit of Dooku and his minions. Darker events became, attempting to turn this war to their own uses. Dooku and Sidious are. We'll have Dooku soon enough. Lifted the veil of the dark side wasn't after your success on Naboo. Grown beyond Dooku this war has, now to justice both must be brought, and to justice all those Sidious to the dark side has turned. Yoda looked hard at Obi-Wan. Uncover Sidious's tracks you must. A chance this war to conclude you and Anakin have been given.